Welcome to this explainer on living without ambition, the flowering of life. Right up front, I want to mention that this deep dive was researched by Sachin Karnik, drawing extensively on the philosophy of Krishnamurti. Today, we're going to completely rethink how we view success, identity, and inner peace.
So let me ask you a question right out of the gate. Could our drive for success actually be the very thing destroying our peace? I mean, think about it. From day one, we're conditioned to believe we literally have to strive, compete, and constantly climb the ladder to become somebody, right? We measure our whole worth by job titles, bank accounts, and LinkedIn accolades. But what if this completely accepted status quo is actually a trap? What if the exact thing we think is going to finally give us peace and security is what guarantees our endless frustration?
Section 1. The Trap of Ambition. Let's look at this profound paradigm shift.
Okay, first things first, we need to redefine ambition. In this context, ambition is the psychological urge to become something other than what one presently is, seeking fulfillment or security through attainment. Now, to be super clear here, we're not talking about functional activity. If you've got a leaky roof, you grab some tools and you fix it. If you need to learn a new software program to do your job better, you learn it. That's just functional reality. What we're talking about is that exhausting psychological craving to use those achievements as a defense mechanism, that desperate need to turn performance into personal worth. You know that little voice in your head, the one saying, I'm totally inadequate right now, but man, once I get that promotion, then I'll be whole. That's the trap we're talking about.
Section 2. Personal versus impersonal ambition. Okay, let's dive into this false dichotomy.
See, ambition wears a lot of clever disguises. On one hand, we've got personal ambition. That's the direct expansion of the I, focused on wealth, power, or status, which pretty obviously leads to selfishness and isolation. It's easy to spot. But on the other hand, there's impersonal ambition. This sneaks up when an individual identifies with a collective entity, like a nation, a religion, or some noble cause. It's a cloaked expansion via the ours. And here is the absolutely crucial point the research uncovers. This so-called noble, impersonal ambition, it is structurally identical to selfish personal ambition. Literally the exact same thing, just a substitution of labels. Instead of working for me, you work for the system or the cause. But because that underlying drive to succeed and dominate is still totally active, impersonal ambition remains entirely ruthless. In fact, it can be way more dangerous. Why? Because a person driven by a noble ideology can easily justify immense cruelty and collective aggression as some sort of glorious duty. The ego simply finds a bigger flag to hide behind.
Section 3. The fear of emptiness. Let's gently peel back the layers to the root cause. So, why does the human mind so eagerly cling to ambition and psychological identification in the first place? Well, at its root, ambition is actually an escape mechanism. It is a psychological cover-up for an inner condition we are just desperately trying to run away from. Loneliness, the fear of insignificance, inner hollowness, deep insecurity about our worth, basically the terrifying sense of being an absolute nobody. We are so incredibly uneasy with this quiet, inner emptiness that we scramble, just absolutely scramble to cover it up with success and constant activity. We subconsciously tell ourselves, if I just get that promotion, or if I get enough likes on my post, I'll finally matter, and this hollow feeling is going to go away. But it never does it? The goalpost just keeps moving.
I want you to really sit with this quote for a second. Why are we so frightened of our loneliness, of our emptiness? I mean, if whatever we are is always there, what on earth is the good of running away? Any activity that is just a blind escape from what is absolutely bound to bring sorrow and antagonism. It's a terrifying question, honestly, but it's an entirely necessary one for us to sit with.
Section 4. The illusion of becoming. How we constantly construct identity.
Let's walk through the fascinating mechanics of how our minds systematically construct this I thought out of totally transient experiences. Imagine you make a mistake at work, or maybe you get a really harsh email from your boss. Step 1 is experience before ownership. A purely neutral physical sensation arises in the body, maybe a tight chest or a rapid heartbeat. Step 2 is the naming process. Almost instantly, your mind slaps a verbal label on it, calling it anxiety or fear. Step 3 is psychological appropriation. This is where the mind aggressively claims it, declaring, "This is my anxiety," or "I am an anxious person." And finally, Step 4, creating continuity. By perpetually reviving past memories and hurts, the mind builds this illusion of a permanent me that exists through time. This continuous self-referential identification, that is exactly what creates our psychological prison. We literally think ourselves right into a corner.
Now, there's a very, very subtle trap that pops up right here. The logical mind hears all of this and immediately goes, okay, ambition is bad, so I must become non-ambitious. But wait, trying to become non-ambitious is just another form of ambition. It's basically the spiritual ego trying to win a gold medal for being the most peaceful, detached person in the room. You simply cannot cultivate freedom from ambition as a goal without perpetuating ambition in another form. You're still striving to become something you are not. It's a remarkably sneaky mechanism of the mind, isn't it?
Section 5. Choiceless awareness. Now, what's really interesting about this next concept is how it offers a way out.
So, what is the actual way out? The research introduces a pretty radical solution, and it's beautifully captured by the metaphor of a gardener pruning a tree. Just as a seasoned gardener carefully, intentionally removes dead branches to foster new growth, mindful introspection allows us to gently observe and prune the dead wood of our past experiences and inherited dogmas. This isn't a destructive act at all. It's an act of deep liberation. By choicely observing our beliefs, our reactions, and our anxieties, without judging them, fighting them, or condemning them, we actually free the mind. We allow it to direct its energies toward fresh green shoots of understanding.
Just to be absolutely clear here, letting go of psychological ambition does not mean we lose our practical skills or our memories. There is a vast, vast difference between functional identification and psychological identification. Functional identification is a necessary, flexible tool used to navigate daily life. I mean, you need to know your name, how to drive a car, and how to take responsibility for your tasks, right? But psychological identification is a rigid prison where the I claims sovereignty, endlessly seeking safety through beliefs, dogmas, and tribalism. We don't need to destroy functional memory, we just need to stop using memory as a psychological fortress to defend some fictitious, ambitious center.
And the absolute crucial point is this: the observer is the observed. What happens when we observe our defensiveness, our anger, our ambition, exactly as they arise, without naming them, condemning them, or trying to fix them? What does that actually mean? Well, it means realizing that when you are angry, you aren't a separate entity looking at anger. You are the anger. There is no inner referee completely separate from the feeling. In direct perception, this whole artificial duality just collapses. The exhausting effort to control or become something else ends. In the mind, self-enclosing resistance simply melts away.
Section 6. The flowering of life. What happens when that ambition finally drops?
It's a common misconception, but a life without ambition is not lazy, passive, or mediocre. Actually, on the contrary, it is a highly intelligent, intensely dynamic state fueled by motiveless passion. Action becomes incredibly vital and creative simply because it's no longer burdened by a self-centered, desperate motive. So what actually happens when this center of ambition collapses? You get work without self-importance. You get excellence without vanity, responsibility without domination, leadership without self-glorification, and creativity without this agonizing, constant comparison to others. It's a beautiful state of spontaneous whole being where action arises directly from perception and complete unburdened presence.
We spend our entire lives running on a treadmill, completely exhausted, just trying to find out who we might be tomorrow. But I want to leave you with this final, truly provocative thought. If you stop trying to become somebody, who are you right now? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it sparks a new journey of quiet realization for you.